Well now, that was fun. But now that I've given you a peek of the lives that have all intertwined together in pursuit of the fated blade, let us see in a bit more detail the war bands they command. The Shields of Anavon. The Shields of Anavon have journeyed far across the mortal realms to the desolate shores of the Sea of Shadows on a quest to recover the fated blade and save their kingdom. Gleaming knights astride powerful warhorses form the core of their force, their baroque armor and frightful visages bedecked in many-colored heraldry. Hailing from the hill countries of Giran, they are joined by highland tribesmen called by ancient pacts of friendship, Fey elven wanderers, and many others troubled by the advancing tides of Azir. The kingdom of Tir Avan is a relic of an earlier age. Perched in the highlands of Giran, it is a land of alpine meadows choked with wildflowers, deep glacial lakes, and lonely hilltop castles. When the gates of Azir slammed shut, the scattered clans of horsemen banded together around a warrior king and a prophetess of the 8 goddesses to hold off the hordes of darkness. Over the centuries, they learned from their foes and grew into a small but powerful feudal kingdom backed by a noble class of heavily armored knights. Taking on fierce guises of bestial skulls or horned helms, they have resisted demonic warlords, rampaging greenskins, and the hungry dead alike. In recent years, a new threat unlike any they have faced before has emerged. Backed by the thunderous might of their undying warriors, crusaders bearing the twin-tail banner have appeared in Giran, sweeping away all that stand in the path of their conquest. To the Sigmarites, any that do not yield before their pantheon is no different than daemon worshippers, fit only for death and conquest. High Queen Ygraine has so far refused to call for war and meet the Dawnbringers on the field, preferring instead to send skirmishers to harass and delay the invaders, slowing their expansion to a crawl. She is confident that a patient defense will turn them away for easier conquests elsewhere. Yet to some, this patience is a folly, and with each foot of ground granted, a part of their kingdom's souls is stolen away. A small number have rallied around the young Lady Guinevere, niece to the Queen, and prophetic visions she has received. Calling themselves the Shields of Anavon, they have gathered what allies they can and set upon the perilous quest for the fated blade. Lady Guinevere. Young, headstrong, and valiant, Guinevere was granted the hereditary title of Defender of Tir Avan at a young age, and has worked tirelessly to live up to the ideals it represents. Her skill and drive have won her renown among her peers and at the court. But the weight of duty has grown heavy upon her. She fears that if the Crusaders are not dealt with quickly, they will never be turned away or satisfied with their conquests. Tir Avan cannot face the might of Azir, of that she is certain. Just when she had begun to give in to despair, she received a dream of a magic sword, bound in ice in a distant land, a quest sent to her by the blessed goddesses in the kingdom's hour of need. As hard as it would be to leave Tir Avan now, Guinevere would not balk at the duty, no matter the cost. Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the Shields of Anavon. You are a knight-errant of Tir Avan, accompanying Lady Guinevere on the quest for the fated blade to save the kingdom and earn your name. You are a vassal of the kingdom, perhaps a Highland clansman or border marcher, hoping to gain glory or even a knighthood for your service. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the Shields of Anavon. You are a long-time ally or trading partner of the kingdom, and have joined the quest to protect your own interests. You have reason to distrust or fear the development of a new Dawnbringer city, and have joined the cause to halt the spread of Sigmar. You have long searched for a home and cause to call your own, and the kingdom's offer of land and rank to those that assist the quest have spoken to you. The Wolves of Agora. From out of the ice and shadows of the rim stalk the long ships of the wolves of Agora. Bedecked in frost-bitten steel and salt-hardened leathers, these hulking raiders terrorize the coasts of the Sea of Shadows. Their attacks are swift and without warning, often striking at the most heavily defended targets with a skill and speed born from relentless training. Helmed by Goroan exiles, known to most of the realms as Ogroids, humans, Duarden, elves, beastfolk, and more can be found in their ranks. Greenskins, however, are exceptionally rare, due to the ancient grudge the Goroans bear for their betrayal at the hands of Gorka Morka's children. The wolves sail from their fortress island of Tor Agora. Founded by Goroan exiles and blade masters, the small island is both a haven and a reminder of the homeland that they lost. Many seek out Tor Agora to learn the arts of war and gladiatorial combat. Few survive the journey across the Sea of Shadows and the brutal training that follows. Only the best, those that surpass even their fellow hardened survivors, are offered a place among the wolves. Those that do are bonded beyond rare or creed, as sure in the blade or shield of their neighbor as they are in their next breath. At the heart of the Tor is the small group of free Goroans. Bound as their race is to Archeon's service, most Ogroids rarely see others of their kind, and never more than a few in one place. Yet on this small island, their near-extinct culture is growing once more. Those chosen for a place among the wolves learn the Goroan language both as a sign of respect and as an impenetrable battlefield tongue. Goroan magics, bound in runes upon the skin, are gifted to those who distinguish themselves, and are hardy enough to bear the power they carry. Ancient stories are told by the fires of the marvels and splendors of their homeland, of its triumphs and its ultimate doom. Yet with this revival has come an ancestral yearning to return to those ancient homelands, and an uneasy tension has been steadily growing. The wolves of Agora have outgrown their small island, and have turned to their leader once more. Kol Bramir, the Old Bull. The Lord of Tor Agora is the Ogoroid Myrmidon Kol Bramir. Like many of his kind, he served for years training the Ever-Chosen's armies and fighters for the pits of the Eight Points. When the tides of war turned against the lord he served, he felt his service to the empty throne had been fulfilled, and struck out with a small band of loyal Myrmidons and gladiators in training to find their own home. Called the Old Bull, he has been training warriors for decades. His fur has turned silver-gray in places, and become as strong as spun steel. For years, Kol Bramir's dreams have turned to the ancestral homeland of the Goroa, lost to the hordes of destruction so long ago. Each passing night, the instinctive urge to return grows stronger, yet even the tribe's strongest thaumaturges could not foresee a path to reclaiming it. That has changed. Visions haunt him of an ancient blade, trapped in ice, that promises the power to reclaim what was lost. Omens appear wherever he looks. Gathering his own ship and crew, the Old Bull has set his mind to finding this relic, and none will stand in his way.
Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the Wolves of Agora. You are a Goroan exile seeking to reclaim your lost ancestral homeland. You lead a warband of sea raiders in the service of Kol Bramir and sail with him to reclaim this lost relic. As a veteran of 100 gladiatorial fights, you now train pit fighters and lead a band of them to honor the Old Bull's request for aid in his quest. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the Wolves of Agora. You seek to learn the warcraft or magics of the Goroans, or earn glory and fame in the arena, and have decided to pledge your aid to the wolves in the hope you might be chosen for training. You have a reason to fight for the reclamation of the Goroans' ancestral homeland, perhaps to claim a home for yourself, or for more esoteric reasons. The drossforged.
From the soot-blackened depths of Brak-Zagul, the drossforged have emerged to stake their claim for the fated blade. They are the lowly and the unclean, the dregs of the great unceasing forges of the Dawizar, those cast off or cast away by the churning machine of industry. Duarden of neither rank or privilege, their backs bent by a lifetime of mean labor, spent without artistry or recognition. Hobgrots pressed into dangerous and unforgiving service by cruel taskmasters. Slaves from dozens of mortal races, held in cruel bondage and now given a taste of freedom. They have emerged, risen from the depths of the furnace, and ready to burn the world before bending their backs once again. The cities of the Dawizar are built by cruelties piled atop cruelties. For the leaders of this fractious people, power can only be upheld through ever greater heights of malice and unceasing depths of exploitation. The priesthood of Hashut looms over them all like a capricious vulture, stoking the fires of resentment and envy and scraping up wealth and power in the name of the black-handed god of the Daemon Forge. For the Duarden people that live beneath these great lords and high priests, life in the city is brutish and unclean. Some find service in the armies of the lords or the temple guard, or apprenticeship under the smiths of the great forges, and live with the faint hope of advancement and comfort they can afford. For the rest, however, it is a lifetime of backbreaking labor in the soot-choked depths. These Duarden, without skill at arms or artifice, are treated little better than the chattel slaves they work beside, sneered down at by their fellow Dawizar, all the more for what they are. In a society built upon the exploitation of others, there are none more bitter and resentful than the Duarden that still find themselves at the bottom of the slag heap. The drossforged were born of this bitter resentment, one of hundreds of tiny rebellions within the depths of the city. Most failed without notice by those above, yet by whether luck or by fate, this small group of Duarden and Hobgrots managed to seize a small forge and the arms and armor within. There, they freed the forge slaves and gave them a simple choice. Join with us for the chance to strike down those who enslaved you, or take your chances in the city alone. Bolstered by those who remained and armed with their seized prizes, the drossforged struck out in the dead of night and slipped beyond the walls of Brak-Zagul. Their flight was far from aimless, however. They would insist their success was not due to luck, but was instead the guidance of their divinely inspired leader, Ured the Beardless. Ured the Beardless. Many long years working in the slag pits have left their marks on Ured. His hands are gray and calloused, his back bent, and his hairless face scarred by flame. Yet it is his eyes that most remember, large and black, fathomlessly deep and alive with energy. While countless like him toil in fruitless labor beneath the forges, Ured's resentment was honed to a scalpel's edge when the dreams began. Each night, he beheld the city on the edge of shadow, blackened by ice. Each night, he saw the slumbering forge and the blade that sat within. The blade and the lost master rune of Grugni that lay upon it. He knew why the black-handed god had shown him these visions. Recovering a lost master rune of Hashut would give him everything he ever wanted. Wealth, power, a high priesthood within the temple, and the chance to pay back all those who had sneered down upon him with every cruelty imaginable. Hashut had chosen him to see this done for that reason, for his anger and hatred would drive him to achieve what those lords and high priests could not. And so, Ured dreamt by night and planned by day. Now they march, for vengeance and greed and fervor. there could be no return to Braxagul now, not without the blade in hand and the blessing of Hashut on his brow. Then they would pay. All of them.
Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the drossforged. Dawizar or Harpgrot laborers from the forges of Braxagul who joined in Ored's rebellion. Freed slaves from the depths of the city, given a chance to join with the rebels and strike back against the laws of the Dawizar. Horns of Hashut cultists who have seen Hashut's blessing on the drossforged. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the drossforged. You seek wealth above all else, and Ured has promised a share of the spoils to any that join him and bring the blade back to Braxagul. You seek the favor of the masters of the demon forges of Hashut, and see your support here as buying a potential ally inside. Blackwing Corsairs.
Across the shade ports and city slums of Ulgu, wherever desperation and want are greatest, the cult of the Great Gatherer have sunk their talons deep. Pickpockets and cutthroats, brigands and pirates alike, are bound in a loose weave of homage to the god of thieves and killers and his shadowy priests. Most infamous of them all are the Blackwing Corsairs and their dread captain, the Carrion Queen. For years they have perched like a malevolent specter over the warm waters of the heartlands of Ulgu, preying on ships and travelers alike. Their great skill has brought them wealth and success, yet their seemingly prescient knowledge of where to find their prey and uncanny talent for slipping away from retribution have led many to believe that they are favored above all others by the Great Gatherer, his chosen reapers and harbingers of woe. The Blackwing Corsairs have been drawn from all across the realms, united by circumstance and skill rather than origin. Many, like their captain, were born in the desperate slums of Ulgu, the struggle of their daily lives honing them for a life as sea reavers. Others have been drawn across the realms, wherever want or need drives those to take, the god of thieves and killers finds purchase, and the greatest of his followers feel the instinctive urge to find their way to the realm of shadows. Humans and elves make up the majority of the Blackwing Corsairs, yet all who can meet their demanding standards, both at sea and in offering to the Great Gatherer, are welcome. Skaven, particularly those who have fallen from favor in the Eshin clans, are a common sight, as are the more cunning of the greenskin races. All, regardless of origin, pay homage to the Great Gatherer. For a few, these are small acts of obedience, made alongside similar prayers to sea gods or the gods of their people. Yet some of the most fanatical among his followers, the true devotees of the Great Gatherer, are counted among the ranks of the Blackwing Corsairs. They proudly wear his crow's skull symbol, fighting for prizes to offer and draw his eye. The greatest hope of these fanatics is to die under the gaze of the Carrion Queen, for they believe she will gather the souls of the deserving and deliver them to their eternal reward in the realm of the Great Gatherer. The Blackwing Corsairs now make sail, from the warm waters of Ulgu's heart to its icy and mist-shrouded rim. Talk among the crew has run rampant, with rumors of a city of lost treasures uncovered in these gray seas, rich and ripe for the taking. The more fervent among them whisper of the hand of the Great Gatherer himself guiding their path. A singular treasure, unlike anything they have ever been able to seize before, lies open. Many, they know, have also converged to claim that prize, and taking it out from under all of them would be the greatest act of devotion they could make in the Great Gatherer's name. For the champion that claims it no reward would be too great. Lycia, the Carrion Queen. Few would forget the first time they beheld the Carrion Queen at the helm of her ship. Tall and proud, and flanked by two massive wings so black they seem to almost shimmer with blue flame, she is a figure of nightmares made manifest for the many she preyed upon on the darksome seas of Ulgu. Few would imagine that beneath that carefully cultivated figure was once simply Lycia, orphan girl from the bleak docksides, scrounging a meager living and hiding her gifts beneath bulky rags. Her life had changed forever when she was found by the cult of the Great Gatherer, who embraced her gifts and respected her talents when all others had turned on her. She has earned her place of infamy among Ulgu's underworld, yet still stands with a foot in two worlds. The Great Gatherer's cult has brought her everything she ever wanted, yet view her with a reverence she never sought. Now, driven by visions of a sword and ice, she has taken her crew to the very edges of the realm, yet that small part of her wonders what seizing the blade would mean. If given the choice, would she embrace her destiny as the immortal champion of the Great Gatherer, or forge her own path as a pirate queen?
Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the Blackwing Corsairs. You are a true devotee of the Great Gatherer, and have joined with the Blackwing Corsairs to serve his chosen mortal champion. You are a pirate or cutthroat who, by the skill of your hands and blade, has earned your place among the most feared crew in the realm of shadows, and seized the life you were never gifted with. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the Blackwing Corsairs. You belong to, or are affiliated with, the underworld network across Ulgu and have heard of the Blackwing Corsairs expedition. Assisting them could mean recognition across the network and favor with the cult, both powerful assets. The lure of treasure draws many, and the Blackwing Corsairs have proven time and again their talent for seizing the wealth and living to tell the tale. You might not understand where this cult plays in, but you know the promise of treasure when you see it. The mooncalled. From the fetid holes and forgotten crevices of the realms, the mad and moon-touched come, adulation on their lips. The moon plucks discordant notes in their addled minds, leading them to the one who will bring the moon and the realms together as one, so all may know exquisite madness. This is no mere rabble of religious zealots, however. As filthy and deranged as they may be, the followers of the Mooncaller are vicious fighters, joyous revelers, and true devotees. To walk the path of the Mooncalled is to lose oneself to the cause, face forever hidden behind a crude, nightmarish mask, fashioned after the visage of their patron that haunts their dreams. Though grots make up a large portion of the faction, any who have felt the touch of the bad moon might hear the call. Humans, elves, Duarden, and even a number of Skaven have joined the ranks of the Mooncalled, with many other peoples besides. Their ranks have spread like a sickness throughout the dank corners of Ulgu and beyond, though few have followed the call back to the Mooncaller himself. Those who brave the Ulgugan night might rarely survive long enough to find their patron, but those who do have proven their mettle and devotion. Only the Mooncaller's most ardent worshippers have followed him across the River to the frigid shores of Frorholm. For the moon has whispered that at the heart of the frozen city lies the power needed for the Mooncaller to finally realize his destiny, The sane may look upon this prophecy and wonder, however, if it is truly the bad moon's desire to fall, why would this prophet need an artifact of such malign power to bring it down? Perhaps, then, it is not the moon that whispers in the minds of the mooncalled, but something far darker. The Mooncaller. The grass shaman known as the Mooncaller is a diminutive and wasted thing even among his kind. His jittery, shuddering form, ever swaddled in a filthy and ragged cloak, would be neither intimidating nor inspiring were it not for the mask he wears over his gnarled features. This grotesque visage is waxy, almost cartilaginous. It leers and gawks with an interrogating gaze, and every word spoken behind it bites and tears. Only the gits see the lunacy in its wearer's eyes. Only the damned can hear the demon in his voice. Nobody knows where the Mooncaller found the mask, though it is rumored to have originated in the Age of Chaos, crafted by demon worshippers for their profane rituals. The worshippers of the Mooncaller would call this nonsense. The mask was a gift of the moon, allowing its chosen to enact its will upon the realms. Whatever the origin of the mask, it is certainly a thing of terrible power, enhancing the Mooncaller's spellcasting beyond that of even the most ancient fungoid cave shaman. Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the Mooncalled. A true devotee, convinced that you are following the will of the moon. A worshipper of the bad moon and follower of the Mooncaller who doubts the mask and wishes to see their master return to his true path. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the Mooncalled. One who sees the darkness within the mask and revels in it, not joining out of zealotry, but a wish to see the realms burn. An opportunist. No matter the chaos that ensues from the Mooncaller's victory, it will surely create much scope for profit and plunder. Someone who wishes to avert disaster and thinks that the best method is to break through to the grot beneath the mask. The Shadowsong Renegades.
Heretics or true believers? Betrayers or the most grievously betrayed? There are many that view the Shadowsong Renegades as the vilest of traitors, for they turned against not just the founder of their faith, but in the case of the Scathborn, their very creator. Yet to the Shadowsong Renegades, they alone carry the truth of their god against the grandest lie ever told in the mortal realms. They have freed themselves from the control of the Shadow Queen, and reject her claim to the mantle of the bloody-handed Cain. Their rebellion sprang from the very heart of her temple, from her Melusai handmaidens and Shadowstalkers, to the arena temples in cities across the realms. The Shadowsong were born of Morathi's hubris, for in her arrogance she presumed ownership of the powers she had been granted, and forgot that deals with demons will always come due. Using shadow magic, she crafted the Mirkath shadow brands, imbuing great power into those who enjoyed her favor, or whose rise had provoked her jealousy and suspicion. Yet that magic was never hers, and as she moved to claim godhood, a voice sounded from the oldest and deepest shadows of Ulgu, where light has not touched since creation. The Whispering One, as the Shadowstalkers called it, told of Morathi's arrival to the realms, her failure and abandonment of Cain, and the grand deception she had wrought. Only a few would listen, but that was enough. It taught them to use the shadows as even Morathi could not, and to turn the Mirkath against her, blinding her to their intent and hiding them from her gaze. And so, quietly, in the shadows, the rebellion against the queen who made herself oracle and avatar of a dead god began. Guided by auguries of blood, an important cell of the Shadowsong renegades has set sail for the perimeter of Ulgur, hoping to be the first to claim this so-called fated blade for themselves. It is a great risk, for moving so openly exposes them to Morathi's wrath. Yet to the Council of Shadow Queens, it is a worthwhile one. At their heart march the Shadow Stalkers and witches that first turned against Morathi, but they are not alone. Elves of every variety can be found among their number, some who venerate Cain individually or seek to uphold the sanctity of the ancient pantheon, or others who have simply joined to break the power of the Shadow Queen. Humans, orcs, and shadowbound undead can be counted among their numbers as well, as ancient pacts and promises have been called upon for this rare chance. Clarith, the Sundered Glass. Clarith, the Sundered Glass, is an unsettlingly quiet Melusai Shroud Queen. Her emotions are hidden by her cracked mirror mask, but become all too clear when her stillness is broken by sudden bursts of violent rage when sufficiently displeased. Few know how her mask was shattered, though it is rumored that the Shadow Queen herself dealt the blow. Before Morathi's self-proclaimed ascension, Clarith was a young but rising handmaiden to the High Oracle, a pinnacle of devotion and servitude. None now know why she chose to receive the Shadow Brand, or what it was that the shadows whispered to her to crack her faith. Yet the deepest faith leaves the deepest betrayal. Clarith drank deeply of the shadows, finding in them and in herself the strength to stand against her former mistress. Her search for the blade is driven by vengeance, for she has sworn before the bleeding altar to cut the iron heart of Cain from Morathi herself.
Character hooks for if your PC is a member of the Shadowsong Renegades. You are the leader of a band of witch elves who were true daughters of Cain. You would have followed Morathi as the Grand Matriarch and High Oracle into any battle and fought any foe. But when she claimed Cain's mantle, you realized she had lied to you your whole life. Your Shadow Stalkers were among the elite assassins and agents of Morathi Cain. This warband has, through failure and insubordination, earned the fury of Morathi and sought refuge in the shadows. Character hooks for if your PC has joined the cause of the Shadowsong Renegades. You are a devotee of Cain, or simply abhor Morathi's desecration of the Elven Pantheon, and have joined to strike against her. You serve forces that would see Morathi Cain struck down and her temple humbled, and have been sent to aid this insurgent force in destabilizing her rule. You are a disguised shadow demon who is bound in service to the Shadowsong Renegades by your true master. You and your small coven must maintain the outward appearance of members of the Cult of Cain. Well now, that was fun. I do believe I've got everyone here. Oh, wait, there's one more. But, well, we'll save them for later. It's not like the sun is in any hurry to rise.